friends, Jay Sennett. Welcome to another edition of Cooking with Jay here in my Jazz Kitchen. Thank you so much for tuning in. On today's edition of the program, we are going south. My family, born and raised in the South for the most part. You know, my mother's mother was born in Florence, South Carolina. My mother was born in Durham, North Carolina. And eventually they moved up north to Pennsylvania around the Pittsburgh area. And my grandmother's cooking is deeply steeped in the Southern style tradition of cooking. Her fried chicken, her chicken and dumplings, her collard greens, oh, her gravy, just to name a few, blackberry cobbler. So good, so good. So some of my first dabs into cooking were in the Southern tradition of cooking decades ago. And my grandmother's fried chicken, to this day, probably the best chicken I've ever tasted. So over the years, I try to emulate hers, but then I'm an artist, right? And I'm an artist. Any great artist finds out how to do it their way. With my music, with my broadcasting career, and now with my cooking, I'm doing it my way. And so my way, what I'm going to make for you today, my version of fried chicken, right? And I'm going to make some delicious mashed Gouda potatoes. Okay, so let me tell you what's going on here. Let me move this out of the way. Now, in this bowl right here, I have some flour. I have some cornstarch, maybe a tablespoon and a half of cornstarch in here. Why cornstarch? Well, it affects the texture, obviously. It's going to help give it that crispy texture. And I have some dried oregano, some garlic powder, some onion powder, salt and pepper, and a little bit of smoked paprika. Okay, flour, cornstarch, dried oregano, salt and pepper, onion powder, garlic powder, and paprika, smoked paprika. There we go. And in here, I have some buttermilk. You have to use some buttermilk, right, for your batter. But you might notice that the color is a little pinkish looking, okay? That pinkish looking is hot sauce. We have some hot sauce in this batter. So buttermilk and hot sauce. Now, you might think, well, won't that make the chicken really spicy? No, it doesn't. Interestingly enough, it doesn't. But it adds some flavor. All right, the chicken I'm using today, some boneless thighs, okay? And I brined these chicken thighs for about 35-40 minutes in some salted water. And I use the more coarse salt because if you use fine table salt when you're brining stuff, your food can get a little over salty, okay? So that's kind of my preference. Why brine? I don't always brine my chicken or my meats, but when you brine the chicken, it adds a little bit of more moisture into the meat, which will make it more tender. That salt creates that moisture inside the meat. So adding, besides the flavor, adding a little bit of the salty flavor, adding some more of that flavor, it also affects the texture, particularly the inside, the meat inside, underneath that delicious batter. Okay, so I have over here my Cool Daddy warming up, and get it at 375 degrees, okay? And I'm gonna dip these thighs here in this buttermilk and hot sauce. Oh yeah, yep. Buttermilk and some hot sauce, folks. And no, I'm not using low-fat buttermilk. I'm frying some chicken. Why am I using low-fat anything? All right. Coated good. And this flour concoction over here. All right, that's one. Shake some of the excess liquid off of there. Come on now. And you know, I can smell that hot sauce too. I love hot sauce. All right. Now, you can use Tabasco sauce, I guess, if that's more your preference. I just prefer some good old Texas Pete, you know? That works for me. Sriracha? Nah. Well, maybe. If that's your preference, maybe try it. Again, not what I would use. And since it's my show, we're going to use my version of the hot sauce. Okay. Oh, make sure you get all the crevices of that chicken coated. Okay, one more piece. Okay. Now the potatoes, I'm using Yukon Gold potatoes, okay? Yukon Gold potatoes. I take the skin off, peel the potatoes, and then I dice them up in little chunks, and I boil them in salted water for about 12 minutes or so. Okay, so we have that one. I think we only get 2 in here at a time. I was hoping we can get 3. We might be able to get 3 in here. I don't know, this one is a small one. Let's try that. Let's see if we can get 3 in here. Okay. All right, so now we're going to go over to the area behind me, and I'm going to put this chicken in, and I'm going to show you how I cook these potatoes. Okay. All right, so open this up. We're at 375 degrees. And we're going to dip that chicken in there. Woo, yeah. And we're going to cook the chicken for about 13 to 15 minutes. Now, while the chicken is cooking, it's just frying that deliciousness all together. It's bringing it all together. It's going to be so good. Now, in here, you can see that beautiful gold color of the potatoes. Again, Yukon Gold potatoes. I diced them up, or I peeled them and diced them up little chunks, like so. And I boil them in salted water for about 12 minutes. Get some grated Gouda cheese here. I put some butter in. I put a couple of tablespoons of butter in here. I use 3 medium-sized Yukon Gold potatoes. Okay. Grate up some of this delicious Gouda cheese. That's plenty. Okay. Now set this behind me. Okay, I'm going to move this over here because this is where I'm going to add some salt. Good dose of salt in here in these potatoes. Yeah. Now you can use pepper, some black pepper, or even white pepper. Doesn't matter. All right, now I add a little bit of heavy cream to my potatoes. You start with a little less than a half a cup. Okay, now it's going to get a little noisy here. And then you watch your texture. Pay attention to your texture. Oh, yeah, they're coming together already. So I'm going to add a little bit more cream. I'll put the lid back on there. I'm going to keep an eye out. So the chicken, I'm timing this. All right, 4, we have about 10 minutes left on this chicken. Okay? A little bit more of this cream. And you can see the beautiful swirls in there, which means the potatoes were cooked perfectly. Okay. Now, and I love the Yukon Gold potatoes because of the texture they bring. Taste test, ladies and gentlemen. You know, having another one of these moments. That Gouda cheese and these mashed potatoes, folks. It's hard to put into words. The words escape me right now. I've used delicious way too often. Scrumptious. That's kind of the understatement. Yummy. Also overused. Amazing. Yes, amazing. That's what the Gouda cheese will do to these mashers. Amazing. Rinse my spoon. I have to try one more dip. Can't double dip. Oh. Yeah. Okay. So, now, unplug the mixer before you take these beaters out. You know, did you used to do this kind of thing when your grandma made a cake or made the potatoes? She'd give you the beaters. I always did. Don't use the beaters again after you do that, though. Okay? Rinse them out. All right. They're gone. But these potatoes are yummy. Just a bunch of deliciousness over here. Now, I'm going to keep the lid on them. So, you know, keep them warm because we have to play, the chicken has to play catch up. And we have about 7 more minutes on the chicken. So what we're going to do, I'm going to take a little pause, clean up my mess, and then we're going to get ready to plate. And then we're going to come back, and I'm going to take this delicious chicken out of this fryer. Can you hear that? Can you hear that? Get closer. Can you hear that? I can see the steam coming up off of that fryer. All that deliciousness going on in this fryer right now. So we're going to let this cook for about 7, 8 more minutes, and then we're going to come back. So stay with us. We'll be right back. Okay, I think the chicken is done. All right. I want to get a look at this crispiness. Oh my goodness. Let some of that oil run off of there. I cook them in peanut oil, okay? So, what we're going to do, let me get my bowl, or plate rather. Get the chicken pieces out. Now, that beautiful crispiness. Well, plate. Some Gouda mashed. And this side. Piece here. And this little piece right here. And we're going to come over here. And one thing I want to add, since there's hot sauce in here, I mentioned sriracha. All right. Some simple, home-fried deliciousness with some Gouda mashed potatoes, Yukon Gold potatoes. that creamy texture of these potatoes. And that Gouda cheese just adds, smoked Gouda, by the way, this delicious smokiness and helps to smooth out those potatoes. Now, the key to cooking these potatoes with any food is balancing your flavor profiles. Just getting the flavor profiles, which each flavor parallels the next and complements, not takes away from it, they complement. So the right amount of salt, the right amount of black pepper or pepper, the right amount of cheese, the right amount of butter, the right amount of heavy cream in these potatoes, and texture. For me, my taste, it's like creme brulee. You can have delicious flavor in creme brulee, but if you don't have the right texture, not going to work. Same with mashed potatoes for me. So Yukon Gold potatoes, peel them, break them up, cut them up in small pieces, boil for about 12 minutes, okay? Drain them, put some butter in there, a couple tablespoons of butter, put some cheese in there, salt and pepper, the cream, mix till you get a smooth texture. If they're not smooth enough for you, add a little bit more of the heavy cream. I use heavy cream instead of milk because it adds to that creamy texture, okay? The fried chicken, flour, cornstarch, dried oregano, garlic and onion powder, smoked paprika, salt and pepper, and let's see, did I leave something out there? I don't know, but you can watch at the beginning of the video to see what I put in there. And then the batter, some buttermilk, not low-fat buttermilk, just regular buttermilk, and some hot sauce. Mix it up well, dip the chicken in that batter, dip the chicken, coat the chicken in that flour mixture, fried about 375 for about 13 to 15 minutes. Get that nice, crispy, golden brown texture on this chicken right here. That's what's happening on this edition of Cooking with Jay. I'm Jay Sennett. Thank you for watching. Be safe, friends. Also, I'd like to invite you to check out my Sennett in Session Jazz Show, Monday through Thursday nights on WHRO VFM 9 until 1, Saturday mornings 1 until 5, Sunday afternoons from 1 until 5. And my other show, The R&B Chronicles, Friday nights from 7 until 8, great soul music. And I would like to invite you to see about my new business venture, the Cosmopolitan Palette. Visit thecosmopolitanpalette.com. The Cosmopolitan Palette, no space between those words, .com. And you can check out what I'm doing with my new business with the palette. Until the next edition of Cooking with Jay, because a lot of these dishes I'm making are menu items from the Cosmopolitan Palette. Okay, that's that connection there. All right. Till the next edition of Cooking with Jay, WHRO Public Media Facebook page, Friday nights starting at 6. Check out the show. Be safe. We'll see you soon.
Hi everyone, Jay Sennett here. Cooking with Jay is now even more jazzy in my new home with my chef's kitchen. I'd love for you to check it out. Join me Sunday evenings at 6 on Facebook at WHRO Public Media. Let's get cooking.